So we're almost there. Got a nice even thickness on my round. I don't like pie crust to be too thick. It's really up to you. If you like a little more crust, make it a little thicker. I would say this is going to be about 1/4 inch thick. And again, I'm going to measure and make sure it is the right size for my 9-inch tin, and it is. If you have a hard time transferring your dough, you can simply fold it in half, take it to your tin that way, and then open it up. What you want to do at this point is use your thumbs or your fingers and make sure you're pressing down into the corners of the pie tin. I'm going to make sure I'm right up against the tin. And I'm now going to introduce this lovely strawberry rhubarb filling that I made. You want to make sure you have a nice heaping amount of filling in your pie. I get a little disappointed when I pull my pie out of the oven. The fruit has lost all its water and I have a flat pie. I actually want to make sure my filling is coming up and out of the pie, a nice heaping pile. So when it cooks, it's still going to give me a substantial looking pie. Beautiful. Some people will, at this point in the game, put some butter on the top of your filling. You can do that if you'd like. I don't think it's necessary. I'm going to keep the butter off. And we're going to roll out the second disc of our pâte brisée for our top. You could do a lattice top. You could do a straight top like I'm going to show you. You could always do a crumble or a streusel type of top. Really up to you. Today I'm just showing you a basic pie. Once you get this down, you can do a number of things. Again, focus on starting in the center, and you're going to get a little more even rollout. I want this to be about the same size as the piece that I rolled out for the base. So we have enough on the edges to crimp it together, and we have a nice tight seal. As you can see, I'm not using a ton of flour here. If you keep throwing down flour when you're rolling, you're most likely going to give yourself a very, very dry crust. So I'm using a minimal amount of flour. And again, I can still see those beautiful bits of butter, which are going to give me that flake that I've talked about over and over again. Obviously, it's very important. This is about 1/4 inch thick, just like the base. I'm going to fold it in half to transfer it. Before I do that, I'm going to give the edge of my pie a little bit of egg wash. So this is simply 1 egg that I've broken, mixed with a little bit of water. And I'm giving it a light brush. And this is going to act as a seal for us. Over the top. Any extra dough we're just going to trim off, so don't worry about that. And again, I'm going to take my fingers and just run around the edge of the pie. The first thing I'm doing is sealing the pie closed. Have a little paring knife. I'm just going to follow the pan now and trim off the excess. I'm not a fan of a lot of extra crust on a pie. If you like all that extra crust around each slice of pie, keep a little more on the side. You don't have to do all this trimming. You can just roll it up. I'm actually going to take most of it off before I even begin rolling up the edges. So at this point in the game, set this aside. You could always save this. It's not enough for another pie. If you have scraps, you can put them together, roll them out together, and make yourself another pie. So don't automatically just toss it. I'm now just going to give it a turn. So I'm just running around and turning it over before I crimp it. I want to make sure this is sealed. Now that I've rolled up the edges, I'm going to take my fingers, and with this motion, I'm going to crimp the pie. So I'm using 2 fingers on my left hand, my index finger, sorry, I don't know my left and right, my index finger on my left hand, 2 fingers on my right hand, and it's giving us that nice crimp. Not only is it sealing it, it's making it attractive. Perfect. The last thing we need to do is vent the top of the pie. We don't want the filling or the steam to develop below this top crust and below the lid. So I'm just going to go through and give it a nice decorative top with some vents. We can then give the top, I've got some egg wash left over. If you like to have a nice sheen on the top of your pie, give it a little egg wash. You don't need a lot of this. Some people use milk. I prefer eggs. And then I'm going to give it a little turbinado or sugar in the raw. Some coarse sugar on the top I think is also nice because there's not a lot of sugar in the crust itself. It'll taste really nice. It's a good texture, and it looks really pretty. This pie is ready for our oven. How to determine when the pie is done? Typically, I'll set my timer for 60 minutes. I know my pie is going to take at least an hour. Probably more like 90 minutes, somewhere in between. I'm going to look for color first and foremost. I'm also going to look to be sure that the filling has come to a boil. Because we added flour to that strawberry rhubarb filling, we want to make sure the liquid in the pie actually boils. That will actually thicken the pie at that point. So I look for filling spilling out of my pie. I want to make sure I have a nice boil to make sure I have the thickening power that I need, so when I cut into my pie, it's not just gushing out like I discussed earlier. So I'm going to put this onto a sheet pan, prevent any drip from hitting our oven, and it's going into a 350-degree oven for probably about 90 minutes. So it's been about 90 minutes our pie's been in the oven. I can smell pie. That's telling me first and foremost that the pie is probably done. Let's pull it out and take a look. And just as I talked about, we have some liquid bubbling up and out of those vents, which is telling me that our filling has come to a boil, which is very important for thickening. The fruit has cooked. We've got a nice golden brown pie, absolutely beautiful, ready to cool down. As much as you want to cut into it right away, allow this to cool for at least a half an hour, otherwise it's just going to gush out. More like an hour would be best. I'm going to wedge it, and then I'm going to put a dollop of vanilla ice cream on the top, and what could be better? Strawberry rhubarb pie, nothing like springtime with strawberry rhubarb pie. I'm Michael Montgomery from the Culinary School of the Rockies. Thank you.